What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, all right, we're coming back to Gacharic Spin. Yes, indeed. Gacharic Spin fans, feeling you. Come on now. Here we go. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all the clicks and the likes and the bibbidi-bobbidi bop, do me a favor, before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from SMB, and this is actually one of SMB's 3 prioritized requests for the month of May for being a gold tier member on the Patreon page. So, here you go, SMB. Hope you enjoy the show. SMB want to see me react to this? It is Gacharic Spin with a tune called Frustration. Now, have I heard the song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard the song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a second, yeah, I recognize this song, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Let's see, this was posted by Gacharic Spin, no surprise there, and the video has 893 views. Well, there you go. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Gacharic Spin, Frustration, 11th Anniversary Online Live 2020. Cool. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
From what I can hear, everything sounds good. Everything sounds tight. in particular, bass and drums really locked in well. I like what's going on there. Keyboards, filling up the sound, but also doing a lot of the sound drops, some of the sampling and stuff. That sounds good. Not being overly done, thankfully. I've always warned musicians when they're going to start, doing stuff like sampling, be sparing with it at first, especially, and, find your threshold. Don't jump into it, doing it every single measure of every single phrase, and, and you end up overdoing it by a mile. Start slow with it, have fun with it. Yes, experiment with it. Absolutely. Try to find that common ground of within good taste and experimentation. You know what I mean? It's a balance, and it takes time to find the balance. I get the feeling they've got it by now. Vocally, everything sounds fine. I got no issue with anything that's happening vocally. I only have one issue, if I'm being honest, and it's the guitar. And it's not even the guitar playing. It's the tone, the mix. She is being pushed way to the back in the mix and not EQ'd properly for this room, for these acoustics. Maybe don't mic the cabinet. Maybe have her plug in direct. It might be a good idea, but it just sounds really muddy. It sounds distant. It sounds gross. I mean, and it's nothing that she's doing on her end. She's playing just fine, but it's the EQing, it's the mix, it's the tone that I'm having the issue with, because it is really hard to. It's hard. Number one, it's hard to hear. Number two, it's very, very muddy. It's hard to discern which notes are being played, what chords are being played. So it's a rough listen from the guitar playing standpoint. Everything else sounds just fine. So anyway, let's get back into this. Hey, good times were had by all. Not a lot to talk about, honestly. A couple of things to discuss for sure, but not a whole lot. So we may have a short review. Then again, we may not. I don't know. I'll have to play it by ear. Let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review, and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Gacharic Spin with Frustration. This was a request from SMB, and this was actually one of SMB's 3 prioritized requests for the month of May for being a gold tier member on the Patreon page. So there you go, SMB. Hope you enjoyed the show, man. Not a lot to talk about, like I said. There's a few things to mention, but we shouldn't be here for too long. So let's get to it, shall we? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that an 8.1. Yep, 8.1. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay. First things first, an 8.1, what does that mean? Well, an 8.1 would translate to a great skill rating, so overall, I think this was a great presentation. It would also get 4 to 5 stars and an A- letter grade. So there you go, an 8.1, great skill rating, 4 to 5 stars, and an A- letter grade. Now, how did I come up with that score? So glad you asked. Okay. The song on its own, just the song, I would say it's a really good song. It's definitely hitting for par with, your typical Gacharic Spin song. Very drum and bass driven, pop and slap bass in particular, with guitars and keyboards kind of filling out the sound and adding to the drive, and then vocals coming in over the top and sealing the deal. Okay, it's very typical Gacharic Spin fare, okay? Everything across the board from the musicianship sounded just fine. Drumming and bass sounded good. Koga's popping and slapping is always tight. Sounded really good. I mean, look, I'm also not gonna, smoke screen everybody and go, that's the most impressive, popping and slapping I've ever heard. Guys, the honest to God truth is what she's doing is she's doing octaves, octave, 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 octave. It's all octaves. So, for example, we're in E, right? Let's say we're in E, and she's thumping on the old 3rd string up on the 7th fret. Okay, so there's your E there, right? And then she goes up to the 1st string on the 9th fret. And that's the pattern. It's literally E E E E E E E E E E E E E E E. It's not a hard thing to do. I will give her all the credit in the world for keeping it clean and keeping it in a live setting, keeping it clean and no mud, no slop, no skirches or misplacements or mistakes. Didn't hear any of that. Absolutely is clean bass playing, hands down, and she's great at what she does. Having said that, though, like I said, what she's playing is really not that difficult. It's literally octaves. So it's the old flea trick, It's fine. She makes it work for her. It's one of the signature things of Gacharic Spin and their sound and their songwriting and their presentation. Everybody expects it. So there you go. Yuri's drumming was fine. I had no issue with anything Yuri was doing. I talked at length about what was going on with Tomozo's guitar. That's really the only downside to this whole thing. It's not Tomozo's fault. I want to be very clear on that. I am not blaming Tomozo for this. This was an engineering issue. This was a mix issue. This was a tone issue. I have a feeling I know what happened, and I'm not thrilled with the solution that the engineers came up with. They probably started and heard that her guitar was coming through kind of muddy, kind of thick, a little too muddy and a little too thick for what they typically get out of Gacharic Spin. So their solution, the easiest solution, the solution that engineers go to first, unfortunately, is let's turn her down in the mix. That is the absolute wrong solution. And I can't stand it when engineers do this. Let's turn it down. That'll make everything better. No, The problem is not her volume. The problem is her guitar tone. Fix the problem. Fix the guitar tone. Make it less thick. Make it less crunchy so it doesn't come through so muddy in the mix. I don't understand what is so hard about this concept. Oh wait, I know what the problem is. I know exactly the reason why it's so hard for engineers. Because A, engineers that they've hired don't know what they're doing, which has happened quite a bit in the past, or two, the engineers are just lazy and they just say, rather than spending 15, 20 minutes making the guitar sound better, let's just turn down the mix. And that'll save us a lot of time and effort, and I won't have to get out of my chair to actually do what I'm being paid to do. It's more than irritating, it's infuriating, especially when it affects the performers like this. Again, I am not blaming Tomozo for this. That is not her fault. She probably couldn't even hear what was going on into the main mix. She probably heard what was going on through her in-ears. But I mean, it's infuriating when these engineers just don't do their job. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. You're getting paid how much? How much per hour are you making? $150, $200 an hour to sit on your butt and do absolutely nothing other than move a slider down, rather than fix the problem that you, as the engineer, are being paid to be doing. It just infuriates me. Anyway, sorry for going off on a tangent, going off on a rant. I'm sorry, but when it's something that big affects, well, technically it's something small, but because it wasn't fixed, it turns into something big that affects the entire performance. And it just, even the guitar solo, you could barely hear her. I mean, she came up a little bit in the mix. I think she may have, changed to a solo patch or something, but I mean, at the same time, it didn't help. It didn't help. She got just a tiny bit louder. But even during her guitar solo, bass overpowering her, drums overpowering her, keyboard overpowering her. Anyway. Let's move on, shall we? It was fun to see Angie and Hannah doing the kind of, I know they weren't really battling, but kind of setting up and looking like they were having like a vocalization battle. I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was kind of cute. It's good for the camera. It's good for the viewers. It's entertaining. Goes right into showmanship, and it was well done. It was well spaced apart. It was well portrayed. And both vocalists did a fine job on their respective parts. On top of the vocal work, don't forget, I don't think I didn't notice, Hannah pulling out that iwi. That was a nice surprise. Last thing I would have ever expected from Gacharic Spin is to see Hannah pull on iwi and play it really well. I mean, she sounded really good. I mean, she's not, I'm not going to say that she's Michael Brecker, but at the same time, I mean, she pulled it out and she made it sound good. So, and like I said, I wasn't expecting it. So that was a very pleasant surprise, especially in a live setting like this. I think overall, like I said, I would definitely put this song around like a 7.6, 7.7, somewhere in there. I think a 7.7 would be fair. I think that'd be fair. So why am I giving this an 8.1? Okay, listen, I know we're not playing live in front of a live audience, in front of a crowd. I get that. But they're still doing a live stream. They're still playing live to cameras that are broadcasting to viewers all over the world who are sitting at home watching on their computer. So you do have an audience, and they know that. They know that, and because of that, they were moving around, putting on a good show. Let's go down the checklist. Let's see if they checked off all the boxes. I don't think they did all of them, but they might have. But let me see. No, let's do it. So stage presence, check. Yeah, they look like performers. They acted like performers. So they definitely get that one. Stage energy, yeah, check. Even though they were playing to each other in a circle, they were doing a practice circle, and they were playing into the center and playing to each other. They were still rocking out in their spots. I mean, Tomozo was, Oreo was, Koga was, Hannah was, Angie was. The only one who wasn't really moving was Yuri, but she's back there on the drum. She's kind of a slave to her instrument, but everybody else was moving around pretty well. I also have to take into account the fact that they're in a very tight space, a rehearsal studio basically, and there's not a whole lot of room in there to move the way they're set up. So plus with all the broadcasting equipment that they had in there, in the engineering equipment that they had in there, it makes it even tighter. So I know they can't go running all over the room, but they still had quite a bit of energy for what they were able to do. Let's see, stage interaction. Yep, check. Believe it or not, I mean, I know they're not on the stage, they're literally on a floor, but they still had interaction with each other. In particular, Angie and Hannah coming together towards the end there. That's interaction, absolutely. Crowd interaction. This one is tricky. I am going to give it the check because every opportunity that the ladies realized that they were the ones who were on camera, they played to the camera. You have to be aware when you're in a studio like this, in a studio setting, and you got multiple cameras going on, you gotta watch for your cues. And I'm sure it was rehearsed, when they were doing their rehearsal. Okay, at this point, this camera's gonna be on you, be ready. And it was probably all planned out. So they had to know where their cues were, when, or maybe they had lights on the cameras, broadcast light, cue light as they call it in the industry. And maybe they were just waiting for the cue light. When they saw the cue light come on, they were playing to the camera. And what's the camera doing? Broadcasting live to all those computers all over the world with people sitting and watching their live performance. So in a sense, that is crowd interaction. So I'm gonna give it that check. I know there's gonna be people in the comments going, that's a bit of a stretch, DH. Hey, it's my show, all right? I call it stage interaction, or I call it crowd interaction. In my opinion, it is, and that's really all there is to it. You don't like it? Get out. Let's see, showmanship. Yep, check. Definitely showmanship across the board, from start to finish. They were putting on a really good show in a small setting, okay, intimate setting for sure, not in front of a crowd, in front of nothing but cameras. It's not easy to do. You have to work at that. A lot of bands, I'm not going to mention any names, but we've had some bands on the show that have done very similar things where they broadcast live, a quote-unquote live show, and they literally just stand there the entire time. There's no rocking out, there's no moving around. They literally plant their feet in place and do not move and play the song perfectly. Well, that's great. That's wonderful and all, and it is technically live, but is it a lot of fun to watch? Yeah, not really. Gacharic Spin gets it. They understand. Play to the cameras, utilize the cameras, use them as a tool. You're gonna be broadcasting to an audience, right? Doesn't matter if they're right in front of you or watching at home 1,000 miles away. You should, in a live setting like this, put on the best show possible. People are paying how much to see this live show? I don't know, $20, $30, $50, however much they're charging, they better get their money's worth. I know for a fact if I was to be paying even $20, if I even paid $20 to see my favorite band, whatever band that might be, put on a live webcast, a live web show, broadcast, and they just stood there like statues and played the songs, I would demand my money back. I would turn it off within the first 10 minutes and say, I'm done. I am done. I don't want to watch anymore. This is boring. Give me my money back because this is not what I paid for. But they did it. Gacharic Spin gets it. They understand it and they know how to play it to the camera. So showmanship, yeah. Production, no. There's no production. There's no, design to light show. There's no pyro. There's no cryo. But you know what? That's okay because like I've always said, unless you're a production-based band, production's just bonus points anyway. It's not really gonna, do a whole lot one way or the other. If you don't have it, you don't have it. It's not a big deal. But you're a production-based band, you better have it, and it better look good. Well, Gacharic Spin's not really known as a production-based band, so. Now, this is how I brought it up to an 8.1. Their live show, considering the circumstances, I thought they did a really nice job with it. Matter of fact, I'll go a step further and I'll say I think they did a great job with it, which is how we ended up with a great score of 8.1. I feel good about that score, and that's where we're going to stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We have an 8.1, which is a great scale rating, 4 to 5 stars, and an A- letter grade. Take your pick, I don't care, whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's gonna do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hope I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, then I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.